Hello and welcome to What I Read in August. I've got my coffee and I'm going to talk to you about the book that I read this month. Now I only read one because I've been moving house and that's took up so much time. So I mean it was a big book, that's all I can say about that. But I thought this month I would talk to you about 3 other books that I think are really good recommendations based on this one. I've drawn stars at the top of the page as this book is all about magic. Now, I'm probably the last person on earth to read this as I've seen this book everywhere and so many people talking about it, but I'm glad I finally got round to read it. It's The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. In the late Victorian period, 2 magicians set up a duel between their protégés, which is played out within the circus, and the circus travels around the world, and lucky for me and everyone else who hates clowns, the circus is completely different to the traditional setup. It's full of the most dazzling, inventive illusions and magic, and to be honest, I would just read it again for the food descriptions because everything sounds delicious. I really love those books that take you around the world. It really feels like an epic adventure. So this leads me on to my first recommendation based on The Night Circus. This book also features a travelling circus. You'll join it in London, St. Petersburg, Siberia. It also has a love story at the heart of it and some extremely interesting and colourful characters. It is Nights at the Circus by Angela Carter. It is the story of a woman who is also part swan, an American journalist who is completely enchanted by her. He follows her around the world, wanting to know more about her life story, which is probably one of the most interesting backstories to a character you will ever read. This book reads part fairy tale, part fable. It's imaginative and creative, and those are the sorts of books I love. Second book, which focuses more on the element of study and of ancient magic that you can find in The Night Circus, is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Noel by Susanna Clarke. It's also kind of a historic fiction. It's set more in Napoleon times, so think Jane Austen. This book also features 2 dueling wizards, so it's quite similar in that way. And I really like this book because it has a huge amount of characters, and as it's quite long, they all get quite a lot of time, so there's a lot of subplots and stories to discover within it. My final recommendation is similar in style of storytelling, and I could just imagine some of the characters in The Night Circus really enjoying this book. This is Tales of the Peculiar by Ransom Riggs, and it is a collection of short stories that are all magical and very peculiar. And look how beautiful this book is. I mean, look at the illustrations, they're just beautiful. This one's my favourite with all the flying books. And that's it for my book recommendations for this month. There's my little love heart for my recommendations, and now I'm just adding a little splash of colour to my reading diary. I do this every month. I do a page of what I've read, so if you'd like to see how I set up last month, I will link that. And if you've got any other suggestions of what to read next after The Night Circus or any of the books mentioned here, then do let me know because I just love these types of reads. And if you've read any of the books mentioned in this video, I'd love to hear what you thought about them, so please do let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you at the end of September. Thank you for watching. Bye!